I'm nearly running out of time to make this spooky vest, so let's do this thing. Hello, it's Icy, back with the next vest video for this little unexpected series. So last time when you joined me, I put together a sloper, so a perfectly fitted, skin tight-ish pattern for a bodice, which will be the foundation for the vest pattern. So perfect sloper. I finished drawing it all up, I have it on cardboard, we good to go. So what I plan to do is still make a vest that's very similar to the goth grunge stretch vest, where the side panels are all one piece and sort of circular-ish. So what happens now is I take the sloper pattern and I attempt to manipulate that pattern in some way that gets me that shape. So what I'm looking for is like a seam that goes from, I don't know, the lower armpit, sort of over the bust, down the front, and then curves back out again to the hips. The same at the back. So I'm really looking for these real strong kind of curved lines. So that's the first step. Then the second step after that is probably to make a mock-up from that pattern once I've made that. I don't know if I'm going to make the mock-up in the cheap calico again, or if I make it from something that means it's a wearable mock-up, or if I just kind of go ham and just like do like really big seam allowances. The thing is, of course, there is no downside to me just making giant seam allowances and then just kind of sewing it in and unpicking what I don't need, which in essence is how I fitted the stretch one. there are so many seams on that thing. So I could do that. And I don't know what the plan is. But let's put together the first bit. So let's draw up a new version of the pattern. Right. Okay. I mean, that kind of worked, I think. Here is new front piece. Is this gonna work? I really don't know. Yeah, do you know what? I think I have been thinking about it for like the last, like all overnight, about whether I make a mock-up. I think watch me think, do I make a mock-up or do I make a wearable mock-up? You know what? I might breaker. I might make a wearable mock-up, I think, because I have, and I'm like literally looking at this, one sec. I have this material that I bought, which originally was going to be the lining of this vest and is now not, for reasons. But I mean, I could make a black and red vest with this, right? Possibly, because I've got some black broadcloth, so it wouldn't be a very high quality vest. But I don't know if I want to. I don't know. Actually, no. I think I'm just gonna make a calico mock-up, because this is quite nice. It's a bit rough, but the print is great. So maybe I will save this for something else. I think I'll just do a calico mock-up, or like a sheet or something. I think I'll make it out of scraps. Is probably the best way to do this. Then I don't care. And also the other thing, it's now mid-October, so if I want this vest done for spooky season, I need to not muck around finishing off a red and black vest, which is exactly what I would end up doing if I decided to make a pretty wearable mock-up. So I think I'm better just to go to a real mock-up and then make the real vest after that. So apparently that's the plan. Good job, me. Nice working out. So let's do that. It's been a little while, but I have finally put together the mock-up, an actual mock-up, not like a wearable mock-up. And it's not terrible. Certainly the collar looks good. Break point, so where the collar changes, where your first button would go, is in the wrong spot, I think. So it's kind of like just above, it's all too small, but it's just above the bust line, which it's not terrible, but I'd either want it, I think, like here, like much higher up, sort of there-ish, which honestly is not the most flattering for this style anyway. Or I want to move it down so it's kind of under, like the first spot under the bust point, which I think is better. This is not a strictly Victorian style vest, so this is not a problem to bring it down to here. But one thing I do want to look at, I think, is just to do a bit of research to see if larger chested ladies in Victorian times actually had vests that buttoned here, as opposed to kind of like a higher neckline. Because honestly, I don't think the higher neckline is really working. So I might do a little research to see. So that's one thing. So I'll change the collar shape so it finishes a little further down, about 7 centimeters. Now, in general, the shape is okay, but a couple of things. It's just straight up too small. Not wildly. Across the chest, it's like pretty much. It should be overlapped by, this is kind of like where the finished edge should be. So I would add seam allowance on this and then, like make a double layer. So there should be enough here that there should be enough overlap, and then I could have buttons all the way down. So you can see that's not really working. It's actually so tight as to be, I mean, it's not terribly uncomfortable, but it would pull awfully if I was doing that. So that's one thing. So I definitely need to add another, probably 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters should do the trick, I think. The other thing is the back length is, if it's not riding up, the back length and the side length is very weird. So that the side at the front here is, I mean, it's sitting on the top of my hips, but the back is really not. So, so I think what I'll do is bring up the front, and I think I'm just going to end up with a vest that sits mostly on the waistline as opposed to just past the waistline. And I think that will just, that will be fine basically. So I think what I need to do is I need to add more room in the back, which is, I've gone the other way basically. So kind of, you can see this is being like a triangle here. So it fits under the bust, but then here it's just like completely not. So options are either I broaden the back piece, so like here. I don't think I want to do that because it is kind of the right width, where it's about that wide, and that's sort of the nominal kind of correct spot where you would put darts up the back anyway. So that's, so I could make it wider there. The other option is to add more room on the side panel at the side. That actually would be very difficult to do, just because of the extreme curves that I've got going on there. So I think the easiest way to do this is much the same way as the very original mock-up from the first vest. I think what I'll try is I'll try slashing this, and then I think that should open up enough to sort of sit across. I think that's all I need to do. The other thing is, I think this needs to be taken in a bit more. Like, feels like, and possibly at the front as well. Definitely feels like the front could come in by another centimeter, and the back as well. Possibly I could actually fix that by, I mean, I might be able to fix that just by taking in, what I might do is just slice the whole thing in half down here, and then just do that. So take it in at the top and broaden at the bottom, and I think basically creating the effect of just changing the shape of the side panels. That might be okay. So in general, it's not terrible. I could definitely take in, like, change the angle. Where are we? Under the arm here. Just do like that. Might still even need to do that and just change the whole shape. Actually, that might be. We'll see. I'll do some pinning and then I'll just have a look. So the other thing I would say is I probably, like, I want this collar to stand higher, I think, as well. So even though it's longer, I do like quite a high collar, which honestly, I think that means, yeah, it kind of needs to go all the way up there. So this is like meant to be the fold. So I need to add an extra, that much at least, to the width of the collar in order to get it to sit quite high up the neck. And also the measurement across the back was slightly, like, that wasn't, I measured that wrong or did something weird, so that needed to be slightly longer. So I think as long as I cut out the collar and I leave extra seam allowance at the back, I should be able to take into account any mismanagement there. Shoulder cut, pretty good actually. I did take it in. I think maybe what I could do is just I don't know. I think it's probably fine. I could possibly just the front here, bring it straighter down and then curve it out, rather than having it sort of more diagonal. But in general, I think it's pretty good. I'll have a look at the video afterwards to see what the back looks like, whether the arm shape is okay. So yeah, not bad. Yeah, so basically bust point goes down, side panels probably open up to change the shape, and then I guess I need to think about putting together the full jacket. Will this happen in time for Halloween? Oh, I don't think so. We'll try. The odds are bad, is what I am saying. Yeah, the odds are not great. They're not great. So we'll see what happens. But we'll finish the vest in time. Who knows? Okay, a little bit of a progress report. I'm really happy. Okay. So the pattern works beautifully. I did a good job. So I've got the back sewn on, the sides and the front. I increased the width of the collar from the mock-up because it was okay, but it was just a little short. I did move the break point further down to just under the bust. Worked out I can have like 5 buttons, I think. 5 buttons, 3 centimeters apart, which should work nicely. Maybe I could change that if I want, that's fine. It's good. It's really good. Now, the one thing I've noticed is, now I'm not doing like a full spin around because I want to save the back for like the final reveal. But if I do this, well, you can see, and initially this is just pinned right now. I was going to do this in the initial pattern and I forgot. I think I need to take the black further into the back by, well, about, I've already cut the bits out actually, so about, I don't know, about that much. And that should mean that from the front you only see the black, so that when you do the spin, that's when you actually see the cool stuff on the back of the jacket, of the vest. It's not a jacket, it's a vest. So it's really good. So I'll unpin this, add little black sections on, and then re-sew the neckline. So the next step is to, it's not really a lining, but the collar facing, it's basically this entire front section. I've cut 2 of those, as you would have seen from the cutting out. And then there's a second back piece in plain black broadcloth, because I ran out of the, whatever this is, stretch sateen. So this jacket is kind of lined, but not really lined. Initially I was going to do, to try, what's it called, flat lining, but I realized if I was flat lining I'd have to do some sort of hemming or something. It'd be weird for the sleeves. So it's kind of bag lined, but not really. So around the collar, will be attached around the top half of the sleeves will be attached, going all the way down across the bottom of the front pieces will be attached. Across the bottom of the back piece will be attached, but the side pieces will be hemmed. And I should be able to, basically, with the front piece, just to tuck it under and then either probably stitch in the ditch or hand hem to hide all the seams is the plan. Pretty sure this is going to work. I think it'll be fine. And it will end up having a fairly neat looking jacket. The reason I wanted to line the back piece is because it's, the materials are quite a bit thinner than the rest of this stuff. And also because it's white and I'm usually wearing black clothes, I just wanted like a plain black background underneath the white so the colouring would never look weird. And also I wouldn't get sweat marks on it, on the white. That would be kind of gross. So yeah, so it's going to be slightly tricky. What this means though, however, is in order to do this tricky method that I normally use, I'll actually have to unstitch one of the two side seams, probably just the ones at the back. So I can do like a tricky turn through thingy, so that all of the upper seams all work fine. I don't regret sewing up the side seams because I can see that the slight changes I made to the pattern work perfectly. I'm so happy. It fits so well. Like it looks, it's here is perfect. Like at the back, on the back seam, where it comes into the armhole is perfect. I did a thing and it worked and it's made me very happy. So yeah, so that's the plan. I'm going to add extra triangular patches on here, re-sew this, sew the half lining, then attach everything together, do all the stuff. Oh, before I forget, no, I was originally going to put structural stuff inside the whole collar, but I don't think I need the whole thing. There is enough structure here. It is actually sitting quite nicely, and I'm going to have a double layer. So I don't think that's going to be required, but what I will do is put a little bit, probably just in this back section here, just across the neckline. And then also I think I need to put some underneath where the buttonholes and the buttons will go as well. So I was originally going to do it with like proper like stuff you stitch in and do all pad stitching and stuff. I don't think that's going to work for this one, so I think I'm just going to use some fusible interfacing actually. I know this is a stretch, but I think that will be okay. I think that's probably the best idea because like it's not like the collar is stretching, and while across the buttons will stretch a little bit, it still needs to be reinforced, I think. So I think I definitely need like extra stuff there. So that's the plan. It's, I don't know what the date is, the 21st, something. So I've still got a week to get this done if I want it by Halloween. So let's see how we go. Hello, this is just a quick intermediate update. So I've finished the seams around the tops of the shoulders and around the neckline and down the front. So it's all pinned around the edge, ready for pressing. That way I can make sure that I get it nice and firm. I think I've made the collar too big. I'm not quite hard. It's very cloudy today, so it's hard to tell in this light. But I think I've made it slightly too generous. I am contemplating just turning it back inside out again and taking off like another centimeter off the whole thing. I think that might be slightly better. But in general, very happy. It's going well. I think I should be done by October the 31st, which is my, like self-imposed date. So I think it's all going to be fine. So the next steps are, press, basically press, maybe restitch the collar so it's a little shorter. Press all of the currently done seams. I need to fix up the back bottom seam as well. Then I need to sew the side sections back in. Then I need to tack down the interfacing layer, the lining layer back over the seams. Tack or possibly stitch in the ditch. I haven't decided yet. I need to press those as well so that will all sit really, press and clip actually, all of those, so when they kind of go down to cover all the seams, it should sit really nicely. So pretty much the only single layer will just be the side pieces, which I thought that would be good because this would be a very, very warm vest to wear if it was all double layered. So I kind of wanted something that I could wear into sort of late spring, summer, maybe. I think it'll be too warm anyway, but that's okay. And then, work out how I'm finishing the tops and the bottoms of the single layer, whether I'm going to use some sort of bias binding or something. I've got some more of the stretch sateen, so possibly I will just make like a fake bias binding basically with stretch, so it would work, and then just kind of finish off the edges. I still have to work that out, or I can just use normal bias binding, which I also have. And then buttonholes, buttons and buttonholes. I think I have some plain. I'm just going to go for quite plain buttons for this one, I think, and I definitely have some plain buttons. So we'll see. It shouldn't be. It's nearly done. I should be able to finish this within a week easily, which is how much time I have left if I want to have this done before the spooky season is in fact over. It's fine. But yeah, I think I just need to have a think about whether the collar is now too wide or not. But it's going real good, and I'm real happy. It's done and I'm so happy. It really does look absolutely fabulous. It fits like a dream. I am so pleased with the pattern I designed. The side panels work. So it's a single side panel for the whole side piece, like from here all the way around to there. That works super well. Yeah, I did end up reducing the collar width by a little bit, but just to here. So this is still as wide as it was initially, and then it just tapers back to here by, and I lost a centimetre and a half, something like that, and that seems to work super well for me. So rather than taking off the whole lot, yeah, the tapered works fantastically. I didn't think to check how many buttons I had. So I'm just lucky. I had these super cool, like 4 of these buttons, because, yeah, this might not have been finished on time because there isn't any way I'll very quickly be able to get to a fabric store to order more buttons. Also, I just about ran out of thread as well. I thought I had a heap more, and no, my 25 kilometers of thread ran out. So I also need to get more of that too. Black, naturally. So I am, yeah, genuinely delighted with the shape, the fit, the back is so good. One thing I kind of stuffed up, but then ultimately it didn't matter, is on the back, there's like a swirl shape. So I positioned the back so that the bird is on the shoulder, because obviously it wasn't going to be centered anyway. So I wanted the bird on the shoulder, but I didn't realize as I was cutting it out is there's a really strong circle shape at the bottom, and it was off center, like in the curve at the bottom, because ultimately I had to actually lift the curve up. I had to lose sort of the curve out over the butt a little bit because it just completely wasn't sitting right, and just like make this straight across the waist. That's okay because that's cut through the curve, so it's not like such a big deal anymore. But that is something that I would need to take into account another time if I was going to make an extremely unusual single pattern vest. But yeah, it's great. Oh, it fits so nicely. So nicely. It's kind of, sort of, nearly, almost, but not quite finished. So one thing I need to do, I'll just take it off so I can show you. So the front panel, the front panel and the back panel are tacked, they're stitched in the ditched over the single layer side panel. So the single layer side panel are just hemmed around the bottom and the top. I was trying to work out some fancy way of finishing those, but in the end a hem actually worked the best. And then these are basically, yeah, stitched in the ditch from the front over top to hide all of the messy seams. So you can see I still need to take out the grey basting, and there's a couple of spots where the shape, the cut, it's different. So I'll actually need to hand hem those little sections onto the back layer, which is fine. I have to say, all of the basting, all of the seams, with a contrast cotton, just machine basting, on like a number 3, so it wasn't even very loose, because I found that started to gather. That worked really, really well because of all the complicated curves. As I was pinning it, I could just feel the stitches with my finger and then just pin to make sure both stitches were in the same spot. That worked amazingly well, and I would 100%, next time I need to do something that's got really complicated lines, next time I will do the same thing because that saved my butt multiple times. So it kind of meant that ultimately everything was quite accurate when I was sewing it. One other little bit I needed to, in the end, because this was, I only made one mock-up, and then made some changes on the final pattern. What I found also was I did need to take the back section between sort of about, I guess, just under with the shoulder bones down to at the start of the waist. I just needed to take those in by like half a centimeter as well. There was a weird gape thing which I chased down by removing that. But it's so good. I'm so happy. Done in time for Halloween as well. Though this video won't be going up for a while because, like, continuity reasons. However, if you're here, you may have already seen this, like the vest on Instagram, because I will post this on Instagram for Halloween because, of course, it's a spooky vest. It must go up. But thank you very much for watching. Let me know your own adventures in sewing. I would like to know what you're making. And tag me in all of the things. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.